The crop tool at its core is a really, really basic tool, and it trims off everything outside of the area that you defined. So that changes the physical size of your image, but it doesn't change the scale of any of the contents of your image. So those layers aren't going to shrink at all to fill the new space. You're going to cut everything off outside of the rectangle that you define. When we mouse over the crop tool, it's going to show us the quick explanation, the expanded tooltip, and it tells us that this trims or expands the edges of an image. Its primary purpose is to crop into an image, and then we'll look at how to expand an image. When you click on the crop tool, some control handles will show up on the edges of the image. And you can move those in. By holding the space bar down, you can access the hand tool to move the view. And we can create a more desirable crop for the image. This is really usually about framing for photography. All I have to do is hit enter, and I've got my new crop. There are a bunch of variables within the crop tool that are really important to understand. And the first one of those is this option here, delete cropped pixels. So what I've done is cropped into the image, but since that's turned off, I haven't actually deleted any of the information that was outside the crop. Now this is important when we think about non-destructive editing. There might be potential that you need that information that's outside the frame, but you still need to crop into your image. So if you turn that off, you've still got it. And I'll show you how to find it again. If I hit V for the move tool, and I move my layer, you can see that the image was preserved even though it's outside of the frame. Going back to the crop tool, we can also access that outer information when we click on one of the handles. The crop tool will show us what's outside of the frame, so you can return to the previous crop. Hit enter, and now it's expanded again. So if I turn this on, I'm going to crop in. Same thing I did before, hit enter, move tool, and now I can see that all that stuff outside the frame to the left was deleted. In order to get that stuff back, I'm going to have to hit undo to bring it back, change that setting if I want to preserve it, and complete the crop. One thing to keep in mind about the delete cropped pixels option is if you're worried about file size, the stuff that's off the frame is still being carried in that file size, so it's going to remain big even though you crop it. So if you want to get rid of data, smaller file size, you can turn that on and eliminate that information that's outside the frame if you know you're not ever going to use it. There are a couple more powerful tools in the crop tool itself, such as this straighten tool. You can just draw a line in the image if you want to adjust the crop, but also straighten it automatically. So what if I don't like this framing? I can drag out a new marquee for my crop and expand. And if I hold shift down, it's going to preserve the aspect ratio of the crop, just like in Transform. And hit enter for my revised crop. Now remember, I didn't delete the crop pixels, so I have a lot of flexibility. I can keep changing it. Now the crop tool is great for cropping into an image and making it smaller, but it also has incredibly powerful capabilities when you want to expand an image. So let's take a look at this landscape image that we have. And let's say that this needs to go into a banner, that the aspect ratio is much wider than what we have. So most people are going to look at that problem they need to solve and think, well, I need to crop in to make this more horizontal for the ad space because I don't have any more mountains off to the left and right side of the image. But if you know about content aware that's built directly into the crop tool, I'm going to hit escape to reset the crop ratio. You can use it to expand your image, and it's pretty amazing. Content aware is on. That's my banner crop. Hit enter. And Photoshop is going to do the work for me and figure out how to expand that landscape out to the left and right. That's a pretty incredible result that probably would have taken even me 10, 15, 20 minutes to expand on my own by hand by using like the healing tools and some of the cloning tools. The fact that we have content aware built into crop just dramatically decreases the amount of time you have to spend when you have an image like this that needs to expand. One more thing about crop that you should know about a lot of these tools is that many of them overlap in their functionality. So the crop tool can also work with our selection tools. So if I switch to my rectangular marquee, let's say I even need to make this a little bit smaller to fit in the banner. I can drag out a marquee, click the crop tool, and it aligns to the selection that I just created. Hit enter, and I'm good to go.